Tonight, we have the story of two college students who had consensual sex, a third student who decided it was really a case of rape, and a campus system of so-called justice that kicked the young man out of school, despite the fact that there is no evidence of any crime. In moments, you will hear from that accused student directly. Grant Neal is his name in a Kelly File exclusive. But first, Trace Gallagher is in our West Coast newsroom with the story. Trace?
Megan, at the time, Grant Neal was a sophomore at Colorado State who played football and wrestled. The alleged victim was a female trainer for the football team who Neal was dating. According to the university's internal investigation, the woman claims she and Grant Neal were in bed and that because she was not on birth control, she told him she did not want to have unprotected sex, but he started to anyway. She says when she told him to stop, he did, and asked if it would be okay if he used a condom. She said yes, so they had sex in her bed, and later that night apparently had sex again at his home. The next day, a friend of the woman spotted a hickey on her neck. And when she learned the friend had sex with a football player, she somehow concluded it was rape, reported it to the university, and a full-scale Title IX investigation began. The alleged victim made it clear she wasn't a victim, telling investigators, quoting, "He's a good guy. He's not a rapist. He's not a criminal." And when Grant Neal recorded a conversation with the woman, here's what she told him. Listen.
I hope you know I don't think you did any of that, right?
Yeah. Like, I
may be acting like the typical girl that just got raped, but, like, I hope you know that I don't think I did.
Clearly her voice was disguised, but the investigation found there was sexual misconduct on the part of Grant Neal for the moment when he didn't have a condom on. He was suspended until after the woman graduates. Now he's suing the university and the Department of Education's Office of Civil Rights, or OCR, claiming the guidance the OCR has issued to colleges and universities discriminates against young men and denies them due process. Megan.
Trace, thank you. Joining me now, Grant Neal and his attorney, Andrew Miltenberg. Thank you both so much for being here. I'm going to start with the lawyer on this, Grant, so just stand by for 1 second. Andrew, we have been covering this repeatedly, and what has happened in these cases from college campus to college campus is the administration has set up young college men to have the book thrown at them and basically to be convicted without a lawyer and under a standard that no court would accept. Isn't that true, Andrew?
That's absolutely true. And in fact, what is unfortunately happening is the Obama administration has laid a very heavy hand on the disciplinary process in colleges such that it's virtually assured that an allegation will turn into a finding of responsibility and expulsion.
So this, just so the viewers understand, we're talking about the administration, which has stuck its nose into college campuses in a way unprecedented. They wanted to help rape victims, which is a laudable cause, but in doing so, they have eliminated due process for any accused man on college campus, which brings us to you, Grant, and this ridiculous situation where for a couple of moments, which you then rectified with a woman with whom you were having consensual intercourse, you have been deemed a sexual predator who is suspended from the university, and now you cannot go to another university because of this label. Exactly, and Kelly, that really is honestly difficult to hear. I've been having to deal with this for so long, and it's just really a really hard thing to do when all the rights that you're given as a natural-born citizen of the United States and as constitutional due process, I didn't even have that. So that was extremely difficult to handle. Did you go to the young woman and say, your friend is saying I raped you? What is that based on? Actually, the young woman contacted me, and she told me that her friend is saying this. And obviously, as a young college student, I'm caught off guard, and I'm like, well, did you tell her that that wasn't the case? And the young woman did indeed tell me that she informed this young lady that that wasn't the case. But because this young lady had her preconceived notions about football players and how they act on campus without meeting me or knowing me, she was able to make that assumption that
hey, you took advantage of my friend.
So, and this woman of whom you allegedly took advantage, you had consensual sex on October 25th, and then again, not long thereafter, on October 26th, there was another, October 27th, she came to your home, your roommates were gone, and again you engaged in consensual sex. We heard her on that tape. What does she mean in that tape when she says, you know, I'm sort of acting this way? Did she purport to be a victim in other conversations?
No, she was referring to the point to where all these other students and faculty members involved who were blowing this thing kind of up. She was saying that because she's so upset about the situation and about how I was being treated in this situation and how she feels also victimized in this situation, she's saying that because of her reaction, people were telling her that, hey, I think that I was assaulted.
Yeah,
and
so they're telling her she's a victim, and she's saying, I'm not. Andrew, the only person who apparently thinks that there's a victim at all in this case is the friend. And based on that, what the friend says, the two parties involved have no problem with what happened between them. How does it get to be that a university suspends an athlete with a 3.67 GPA without even a pretense of due process?
Well, and that's what makes this so compelling. We have a non-party, non-witness who manages to have an entire university railroad one of the most promising young men that any of us have met in a long time without any due process, all based on something that we would find utterly offensive were it to happen in our court system. And the reality is that Grant Neal's life has been derailed because the Obama administration has forced universities and colleges across this country to rush to judgment against young men.
We've seen this happen repeatedly on many universities. But now you're trying to do something about it, filing a lawsuit against the Department of Education saying this has got to stop. We want to support the rights of victims on college campuses. Absolutely. But not everyone who makes an accusation is in fact a victim. And in those cases, it is the accused who becomes the victim, as we saw in the Duke rape case. So my question to you is, what are your odds? What are your odds of reversing this policy or getting the Department of Education to listen?
I think it takes a situation as dramatic as Grant's to have the people of this country and the Department of Education sit up and say, yes, we want to be proactive about sexual assault, but we can't do it at the cost of due process.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll continue to follow it.
Thank you for having us.